Okay, I think you can start already. So hello and welcome everybody to today's info session of WU Executive Academy. Before we dive into this important topic of financing your MBA, I would like to first introduce myself. My name is Dalibor Babic. I'm head of graduate programs here at the Executive Academy, and together with the program managers, we are supporting prospective students in their decision-making process. We're supporting applicants in their application process, and we're also the number one and first contact persons for any organizational administrative issues that you as a student would have during the whole program. So we are supporting the students basically in their whole learning journey. Another important person that you don't see right now, Lawrence. He is behind the camera. He's the guy who makes sure that this info session will run smoothly from the technical side of view. So the meeting is divided into two parts. The first part is me presenting, and the second part would be that you have then the opportunity to ask questions yourself. Of course, if during my presentation something pops up and you do want to lose it until the Q&A part, you can always drop your question into the chat. Now, doing an MBA or doing an executive education program does not only involve a major commitment in time, it can also place quite a large burden on your financial situation. So we decided to offer a special session, a session that is dedicated only to this very important topic, so that you have an overview to offer you an overview of possible options here at the Executive Academy that might be helpful for your financing and for funding the program. Now, what we will be talking about? First, I will give you an overview of our program portfolio. Then we will be talking about scholarships, flexible payment plans that are available here at the Executive Academy, tax refunds, and additional ways of financing. Now, let me first give you an overview about our program portfolio. All of our programs, all of our MBA programs are part-time, as you can see here, with a different duration time. We have two sorts of MBA programs. We have the executive MBA programs, which are more focused on a general management level. Typically, students in these programs are already in the C-suite level and also a little bit more senior compared to our professional MBA, which offer during the first two semesters, the first year, which we term the business core, general management and leadership focus very strongly, but also has the opportunity to focus on a specific field or specific industry. Currently, we have 6 different specializations, English specializations in the professional MBA: entrepreneurship, innovation, finance, energy management, project management, marketing and sales, and digital transformation and data science. We also have one specialization in German in the area of healthcare management. Now, what is the difference between the Global Executive MBA and Executive MBA Bucharest? The name already suggests the Executive MBA in Bucharest is located on our campus there in Romania, and has a strong focus on the challenges in that area. Also, the students come mainly from this region in southeastern Europe. And the Global Executive MBA is a partnership program together with the Carson School of Management. Now, with this program, you will receive 2 degrees, 1 degree from the Executive Academy, so the European degree, and a US degree. It also involves, as the name suggests, global several residencies. Most of the courses are going to be located here in Vienna, but also at the Carson School in the US. And there are 4 residencies on 3 continents in Asia and South America and the US. In addition to our MBA programs, we also offer Master of Laws programs, which you can see here in an overview. So the Master of Legal Studies is for people who don't have a law degree, but would like to master the area of law. The LLM International Tax Law has a focus on international tax law. The LLM in digitalization and tax law focuses on this very interesting area and intersection between tax law and digitalization. And a Master of Business Law is for students who have a law degree but would like to master the challenges of business. Okay, so maybe let's just dive directly into our first topic of the day, which is the scholarships that we offer. Now, for each of the programs that I just mentioned, we offer MBA, VU Executive Academy scholarships. They are all need-based. There will be a question in the motivation letter, specific questions where you need to explain why what your financial situation looks like and why you should be the one who should be granted a scholarship. Of course, our budget is limited and we would like to make the program possible to as many people as possible. And our programs are very international, so many students have to fly in, they have additional costs also through accommodation. And at the same time, there are regions where the salary level is much lower, of course, than it is in Central or Western European countries or in the US. Now, for the Global Executive MBA, we offer scholarships up to 25%. The application deadline is already, so you can already apply, and the deadline is on December 15th. This is for applicants that will start in 22. The program starts beginning of April 22. The professional MBA offers also up to 25% scholarship. This program will start in about a month, mid-October. So if there are any latecomers, we do have still some free seats. So application would still be possible, or maybe you should ask the program manager of your program of interest whether there are still seats available for that specific program. But for the intake in 22, the application deadline would be June 30th. For the Executive MBA Bucharest, the deadline for this year's intake is still approaching on the 15th of September, so that's next week. So you rather be quick with your application, and for the professional master's program as well next week. So please reach out to the program manager. You can find the contact details on the website of your program of interest to ask whether there are any free seats available and maybe whether there is still some funds available for scholarship application. You know, there can always be last-minute changes. Usually, as I said before, the budget is limited. Usually, all the resources are allocated, but never know. Sometimes unexpected things might happen and people have to withdraw, and maybe you're lucky and there's still something available. So you can just give it a shot. Now, what is very important for us is supporting women in their careers and in their professional development. So we have a very strong female leaders network in our alumni base. They do several events, career events, but also informal networking events. And we also have a scholarship from the VU Executive Academy side that sponsors female leaders or females who would like to aspire a career. And this is open only for women, of course, as the name suggests. And the deadline is the same as for the Executive Academy Scholarship. So the next ones would be September 15th for the Executive MBA and also for the Professional Masters, and December 15th for the Global Executive MBA, and for the next year's intake of the Professional MBA, June 30th. Now, you might wonder what the selection criteria are and how to proceed. First of all, you have to apply online. This applies to all of our applicants, whether you are applying for a scholarship or not. So this is the same form basically, but upon application, you already state that you're applying also for a scholarship. There's a list of scholarships you can choose. So that's part one. The second part is that you send all your documentation to the program manager, and then a committee will evaluate your applications. And if we think that on paper you look like a very good potential candidate for the program, you will be invited to an admission interview. During that admission interview, you might have to read an article and answer questions about that. You might have to, you might get a case you have to prepare. So there are several things that we're looking into. The peers that you'll be sitting with in the programs are very important, a very important source of knowledge. So that's why we have a strong focus on that. And we take a lot of time and effort to select the right people into the program. So this might take 1 hour, 1.5 hours in total. And after that interview, we will then also look into, as I said before, we also have partners for some of our programs. So we will have to discuss that application also with our partners. So that takes a week or 2 weeks, where we evaluate your performance in total. So all the documentation that you filled in, the motivation letter that you composed, the Empfehlungsschreiben, just looking for the English word for it, recommendation letters, the recommendation letters that you submitted, and also, of course, the performance during the interview. And all of that, we will then have a quite good and very holistic view of your application. And upon that, we will then decide whether you are admitted to the program. That would be the first decision. And if that's a yes, and you have applied for a scholarship as well, whether you are going to get a scholarship and what amount you will get. Okay, what else apart from the scholarships? Flexible payment plans. Now, you're not required to pay everything upfront. Of course, this is also an option. This might be beneficial for you if you're expecting a big bonus, let's say, in a specific year, in the first year, then you would like to have all the expenses in that year. But usually people like to defer the payments and to split it. In the MBA programs, you can choose up to 3 payments, up to 3 installments, which are interest-free. If more than 3, there is a little surcharge of 2%. By that, you can split, you can do the payments across several years, which might also be beneficial for you in terms of taxation. Now, here are a few examples. Like for the Global Executive MBA, the tuition would be 54,000. Upon your application, you're required to pay 200 euros for the application. And after you admit it to the program, it's up to you to say, okay, I'm accepting also this seat that is offered to me. And the act of accepting would be to sign a confirmation letter and also to transfer 10% of the tuition fee as a seat confirmation. In this case, this would be 5,400 euros. Now, the remaining amount would be 48,600, which you can pay at once if that makes sense in your case, or you pay in 3 installments. And you can see here there you have 2 calendar years, which might be more beneficial to you. Now, similar here for the Executive MBA in Bucharest, different tuition, 10%, so different amounts there for the seat confirmation fee. And here you have also the opportunity to pay in 5 installments. And as this program is a little bit longer than the Executive MBA, the Global Executive MBA, you can see that here you have payments in 3 calendar years. And one last example for the professional MBA, which is basically the same as the previous one, just with different amounts. Now, tax refunds. This is a topic that is also very interesting, but it's quite complicated to be honest, and it depends on the location that you're living and that you're working in. So where you pay your taxes, where your tax residency is, so to say. In the case of Austria, many of our students are located here in Austria, also international students. So in the case of Austria, all the tuition fees and everything that is associated with an education program, travel costs, accommodation costs, if you would like to buy some additional books, so a field trip, if you're going to an international residency and the cost of traveling there and the accommodation there and everything that you spend there, of course not everything, but everything that is associated with this program, this can reduce your taxable amount. And in the case of Austria, this can mean that you can get a tax refund, or that can save you up to 50% of the tuition. That, of course, depends highly on your income level. But this is certainly something, if you live in Austria, that you should get more information on. And maybe if your case is a little bit more complicated, also to get some consultation from a tax advisor. But of course, this also if you're not located in Austria, I think there are several other countries who support their citizens in further education by similar things. So what are additional ways of financing? One that is super easy, not complicated at all. There's nothing for you to do, but just apply early. So this is our early bird discount. It's basically a reduced tuition fee for everyone who applies within a specific deadline. So for the professional MBA, this would be the 31st of March 22 for the intake in 22. So of course, there's no early bird available anymore for this year's intake, but the next deadline would be March 31st, and for the Global Executive MBA, it would be August 31st for the intake in 23. So this is done automatically. There is no extra paperwork for you to do. There are also many external funding possibilities. You might be having an educational loans. So there are some banks that offer very nice interest rates for people who need funding for an educational program. So this might be an option for you. There are also many databases that are listed here on this slide you can look into for specific funding possibilities, maybe also in your region, specific to your region. And also we have a cooperation with the Erste Bank for the Funds of Excellence. They basically, what they do is they cover the tuition and all expenses that are associated with the program. And after you finish the program and found a job, in case you did not have a job at this point, you then afterwards pay a certain percentage of your salary to the Erste Bank back for agreed period of time, which you agree on before starting the program. Another external or semi-external funding possibility is your employer. So what are ways they can support you? Of course, they can support you with reduced working hours. That is non-financial. They can support you in financially by percentage splits. So they sponsor you for a specific percentage of the tuition. This is actually something that happens quite often. You can sacrifice some part of your salary. Sometimes students pay upfront the tuition fee, and after they finish the program, they then get the fee reimbursed. And they can also, of course, contribute towards your program-related costs. If you need support to make, kind of a business case to your employer why this is a good idea, also for them, how they can benefit from you doing this program, there are several things listed on this slide here. We also have a one-pager PDF, which we're happy to share with you, that helps you, structure that and to have a good reasoning towards your employees so that they can sponsor you. But to pick one part of it, you can, of course, generate value for your company with the master thesis, for example. That's a very good example. Maybe there is a specific topic and issue that nobody had really time to look into, although it is an important topic in your company. Now, this could be something you say, okay, I have to do this master thesis anyway. Why not make a win-win situation out of this? I'm looking into that specific topic. So this could be also something very, very practical. And what we also know, also from research, is that the exposure to a diverse group can foster innovation very, very much. So this is also something that your company might be interested in. Okay, so I'm through with my part. So now it's your part. So I kindly ask you to unmute yourself now.